In the last 24 hours, I picked up this book here. It's called The 90-Day Brand Plan by Dane Walker. He's an Australian entrepreneur. He pretty much just has a agency revolved around branding for companies and I believe personal brands as well. 30 pages into the book and already recommending the book. Just if you're looking to do personal brand, or even if you want to do brand for your company or your e-com store or stuff like that, this has been something I found to be incredibly useful, even just going through 30 pages. But without plugging the book, the main thing I wanted to get across here is something that I've known for a while, but it was a good reminder in this book to make me unpack the idea a little bit more. And it's mainly focused around micro shifts in your mindset or your behaviors. And so a good example, which isn't from this book, but it's from a spiritual enlightenment book, you could call it. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And so the monk basically talks to his friend about how your mind and your character is basically like a garden. And this is what I really want to get across here, which is important for being able to make new habits and changing who you are for the better, or pursuing future you, for example. So your mind is basically like a garden where you've already got an established set of flowers or plants there already from your past planting, for example, from all the beliefs, values, choices that you've made in the past, and what you've actually molded to make your garden or your character up to present day. And so when you're looking to pivot into being someone else, whether it's for the sake of maybe you're trying to get good in a professional sport, or maybe you're trying to build a business like I am with the supplements, or you're just trying to be better in a certain area or domain of your life, period, you'll find that your garden only has a set number of spots for you to put certain plants. And so the reason I say that is obviously that we're continuing to learn and grow and develop over the years that we pursue our goals. But the reason our garden is restricted is because there's certain plants in there that will no longer serve us. And we will need to be able to remove those plants in order to plant the new seeds, which are actually going to bear fruit towards our goal. And I know that's a really poor explanation, or that sounds really bad, and I do apologize. It's currently, what time is it? It's 1:30 in the morning, and just got back from the gym, had a shower, and I wanted to record this real quickly. But anyway, think of your poor choices, your values that will no longer serve you, the friendship groups that will weigh you down, or even the activities or hobbies that will weigh you down towards your future goal. Those are like the weeds of the garden. They're not there to serve any purpose. They take up space and they restrict you from being able to plant new habits, new choices, make new friends, or adapt new hobbies and skills that will actually benefit you towards the garden or the future that you want. And so obviously the call to action, or the actionable there, is to be able to pluck the weeds to have space for the new plants, remove the old habits and let them die to be able to let the new ones thrive to achieve future you and get your goals. But I wanted to explain it in a way that's obviously relatable to me, because these are a series of videos which are documenting the path to obviously building that successful business and being free. So when I looked at that, I sat there and I analyzed it, and I thought about some of the ways that I'm not necessarily embracing future me, and I'm looking at the garden I've got now and seeing where I still am yet to do further weeding to be able to let plants grow and let me grow as a person for the business and for my future self. And I actually wrote some of them down, but I don't need to go through them because I know them off the top of my head. And mainly, a lot of it is time allocation, where obviously from the things going on with family at the moment, my time is necessarily a bit scattered all over the place, not knowing exactly when I have time to do things. And so it's just about getting it done regardless. You have to be able to sit there and acknowledge the fact that things won't necessarily go your way, And so it's important that regardless of if they don't go your way, you still have to have a true north point where you can walk towards and do the best you can for that day. It's going to be some days where maybe you'll get half an hour of work done. Some days where maybe you'll get a really half of your gym session done, or you won't be able to do your cardio. So you have to pivot in a way throughout the day that actually allows you to get the maximum progress based on the cards you've been dealt. And so that's more of a bit of a pivot from what I'm saying. But the point is that I've been not poor with my time, but there's areas I know that I could do further weeding. Where, for example, between sets at the gym, instead of scrolling on social media, I could take it as an opportunity to reflect through my journal entries, write through some of the things that have been on my mind, or maybe look at some of the old lessons that I've written down that I haven't reflected on lately. Or even, for example, just having my phone there, scrolling through social media throughout the day in general. Perfect example where going through the journal entries, maybe even reading the Bible on my Bible app on my phone. But I'll go through them just so I've remembered as well. Making connections with people, it's important for me to be able to do that because not only it establishes the network, but they generally are good people around you. If you're on the path long enough, and not necessarily long enough where you've blown up and you've got a successful business and you're attracting all these different people when networking, but usually when you're at your starting days, when you're in that hard grind where it's day in and day out of laptop work or maybe reading through books or watching YouTube courses, there's usually a handful of people that might be with you along the way doing their own thing. And so there's still that lonely period, but you've got those groups of people, or maybe it's just one or two, which are actually on the same path as you. And so it's important that even though you've got to get what you have to do done and you have your purpose, it's important that you allocate time to actually spending it with them, because it's an investment into them and they're also investing into you by knowing that you're both mutually going to be successful one day. And obviously that sounds like it's a very transactional relationship where it's my success leverages you and your success leverages me. But in all seriousness, if we're talking on a business sense, it's not even a bad thing. Like, why should it be labeled a bad thing if you two are admiring both of your successes and becoming closer from striving towards the same thing, which is doing better for both of you by leveraging each other? But the important things I've found is to be able to sit here and actually analyze where I'm allocating my time, especially through now where my schedule has been flipped upside down. So this has been a bit more of a scrambled video just because it wasn't necessarily planned. I just wanted to put something out there that had been on my mind in the last 24 hours. And this book's definitely sparked that interest. But really, to wrap it up, if you're still a little bit lost with what I'm saying, it's important that you allocate time to the things that are going to move the needle forward. And it's not a bad thing if you have to reweed through all of your choices that you've made, or look back at some of the mindsets that you currently adopt, and you're going to constantly be improving on yourself and you're going to constantly be reflecting, and maybe there's going to be days where you genuinely don't like the choices that you made or you've actually lost the day. But you have to analyze that at the absolute bare minimum, you just got to look at the day that you've had, or maybe the choices that you made that weren't so great, and just look at how you can do better. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to do it for you. And I know that now. Obviously, I didn't expect someone to run my business or build it for me, but there's a lot more on my shoulders knowing that even all the little intricate things that you got to learn, people aren't just going to do them for you. You have to actually take action and make sure that even though you might be scarce on time, scarce on knowledge, or tired all the time, people don't care. And so if you really want those goals, you've got to push past that and do it anyway. So I'm going to leave it there just so I can get some rest. Maybe go for a run tomorrow morning, or just go to the gym after work tomorrow night and go from there. But yes, get the book, especially if you're starting a personal brand. It's got some good exercises in there so far that help you think about what you want to do. So I'll leave it there. Ciao.